Hey guys, this is another killer build showcase video where I play 5 games with an off-meta build and then I show you guys the results. Today's build is Deadman Switch, Furtive Chase, Nemesis, and Pop Goes the Weasel. The idea behind this build is Furtive Chase and Nemesis allow you to change your obsession as often as possible, which means that you get Deadman Switch as often as possible, and then you've got the slowdown that's Pop Goes the Weasel. Now, looking back, just initially I might say that Surge might be better, just because I think you can pop gens that are afflicted by the Deadman Switch, whereas you can't kick them with Pop Goes the Weasel. But that's for the end of the video. We'll talk about what exactly I think should change about this build. So we're going to go into some clips. I don't have a full game to show you, unfortunately, because that game that I did want to show you didn't get recorded. So we're just going to go through some clips now. In this first clip, I'm going to highlight the weaknesses of the perk Furtive Chase, and this lends to why I might actually replace it in this build. Whenever the obsession dies like you're seeing, you actually lose all stacks of the perk, which is kind of bad, because then you can't really use it. I went on to get a 2-pip in this game. This next clip is to show actually what could have been the ideal use for Deadman Switch in this build. I go and I down the obsession after a vast number of pallets, and I hook them very close to a generator, and I go over to try to chase them off of it. They don't leave, and they get the generator at the last second. You saw that Deadman Switch actually did proc, which is strange, but it didn't really affect anything. I did end up losing this game. This next clip is actually a really good example of how you want to use it. Unfortunately, as you'll see in a bit, I didn't quite play it as well as I could have. I lose a hit to auto-aim there somehow. And then what I should have done is I should have stuck around this generator instead of going back to the hook, or just commit to going back to the hook, because I delayed the finishing of that gen quite a bit with Deadman Switch, but unfortunately I didn't quite delay it enough. Since I did have Pop Goes the Weasel active, it could have been a kick, but they finished it in my face because it was like right on the brink. I got a pip on that game, so I'd say I got a 4K and 1. This next clip is to actually highlight how Nemesis is really good. See, this guy thinks that I go another way, but he doesn't hear my tear radius, so I actually get a hit on him. Same goes with this one. I go right, I hear somebody crying to the left, and I walk left, and she doesn't see me, or hear me rather. And so I get a hit, and that's good. Same when even on that game with this build, was pretty good. And now for this last clip, shows just how good Deadman Switch was going to be in terms of delay. I get 1 proc there, chase the ace around. I get him down. Of course, you saw another proc to the right of Deadman Switch. Flashlight Man wants me to chase him. Of course, I do to get rid of his sprint burst. She goes back to that gen, even though it's Deadman Switch. She'll just wait for it. I go back to pick up the ace. Right? Go to hook him. And then I turn around. Oh, a 3rd proc, which is just about the biggest value I got the entire 5 games of playing for Deadman Switch, which is pretty good, I think. Now I can go and kick this gen, which turned out to be not the gen to kick, unfortunately. But I did end up going even with this game, which I thought was okay, considering. Alright, so what do I think about this build? Well, I think this build is actually pretty good. With a few changes, I think it could be really amazing. So I might come back with another video of this almost exact same build. I think that Furtive Chase is honestly a little bit too weak of a perk to fit. If it did a little bit more, or you didn't, lose the perk whenever the obsession died, or it transferred to somebody else if they died, or something to make this perk just not completely awful. Or honestly, if the terror radius worked outside of Chase, I would work really hard to keep this alive. Also, I think Pop Goes the Weasel doesn't work as well in this build, since there were definitely times where I wanted to kick a gen, but it was just covered by Deadman switch, and that is a bit counterproductive. Like I said before, I think something like possibly Ruin or even Surge would most likely be better in something like this. Then I would replace Furtive Chase with Thrilling Tremors. I tried this actually after on Wraith, this exact build with Furtive replaced with Thrilling Tremors. I didn't actually have Surge on Wraith, so it was just Thrilling Tremors. And it worked pretty well. Every time you pick somebody up, you then get to see where exactly they go directly after, and then you go push them off with Deadman Switch. It actually worked out pretty well when you got the ball rolling. That's the big problem, though, is that you do have to get the ball rolling in order to make this build any good. In order to get the most out of Deadman Switch, you need to be using it pretty much constantly, which becomes difficult if you're just chasing the same person or different people over and over, and you want to chase the person in front of you, but they're not the obsession. Then you have to either labor to make them the obsession with Nemesis, or just hope they are with Furtive Chase. But yeah, so I might come back and change it to Thrilling Tremors and Surge and use this instead. I also had another idea where I replaced this with Overcharge and then this with Pop, or back to Pop rather. Just so that I would go kick something, and if they went to go touch it while Deadman Switch was up, they got an Overcharge proc, and if they missed that, it would regress it more, and it would cause Deadman Switch to go on. So I might try this as well. We'll see. But yeah, so that's it for the video. If you like it, give it a like. Subscribe for more. I should be able to come up with another video for next week, next Tuesday. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.